What's going on, guys? I'm coming to you today in a brand new sweater. It's cold outside. I like it. Leave me alone. Every once in a while, I like to do what I call a passion video. And to me, what that is it's a video that I don't necessarily have to make. Like, I do movie reviews each week, but every once in a while I come up with a video where I just feel like there's something I have to talk about. Like, it's a topic that must be discussed because it's been on my mind, and it's something that I think a lot of other gamers are concerned about, and that is the state of the current generation of consoles. Now, obviously, they're very new. Xbox One just came out a couple days ago. PS4 just came out the other week. These are two systems that have not been around for a long time at all. However, there are a lot of launch issues, and because of that, there's kind of this discussion that's been brought up amongst a lot of gamers about the way systems are made nowadays, the way system launches are handled, the type of games that are released, and the way that games and systems are made in general compared to the way they used to be made, and whether or not all these technological advances are actually benefiting us as gamers. Now, before you get ready to type that I'm a retro gamer and I don't like new games, I love new games. In fact, I'm very much eagerly looking forward to buying a PS4. I was actually at the midnight release of the PS4, but I didn't get my PS4 because I didn't have quite enough of it paid off yet, and I thought I had, so unfortunately my pre-order copy went to somebody else. It sucked. Eventually I will get one, so don't think that I'm just some hater of Sony or Microsoft. I'm not. I just want to wait until there are some launch titles I actually prefer to own, and some of these problems are ironed out. So according to Sony, 0.4% of all PlayStations that were released to consumers are broken. Like, they're literally broken. They're just broken. People are starting to refer to them as $400 bricks. If you remember what happened with the Xbox 360, the red ring of death, where it just broke and broadcast this little red ring, PS4s are showing this blue light and nothing else. And that's become referred to as the blue light of death. The same thing is happening to Xbox One. Certain systems are arriving to consumers and even press people who review the systems, and they are just broken or covered in scuffs. For instance, one of the Xbox Ones that IGN received to actually review cannot read discs. One of the systems they received to review can't play Blu-rays or games. What the hell, man? And as I was reading these articles, none of them were really affecting me personally. I hadn't known someone or encountered someone personally in real life who had some of these problems. They were just things I heard on the internet. And that might have something to do with the fact that the Wii U, the PS4, and the Xbox One are the first three home consoles available after the rise of social media. Because now everyone's talking everywhere about these systems, and you're going to hear a lot more things about them being broken. So nevertheless, I was like, it's probably not that big of a deal. However, a friend of mine the other day posted on his Twitter, another social media outlet, that his PS4 literally broke. Now, he is press for video games. He received his to review free of charge, and it broke. He's a good pal of mine. His name's Jake Baldino. You may know him from Pretty Much It. He does movie reviews and game reviews there, but he also has his own channel called Because Video Games, and he sent me a clip explaining exactly what happened.
Hey Chris, and hey everyone out there, I'm Jake, and this is my PlayStation 4. And unfortunately, I have a perfect example for what this video is about. Now, as a professional game reviewer, I've been lucky enough to have my PlayStation 4 for some time, but just recently I had a big issue happen with mine. The disk drive doesn't work anymore. I was in the middle of playing a game and it completely crashed, and then the disk drive ejected the disk randomly. I've never seen that before. And now the disk drive keeps spinning the wrong way and won't take in any new disks. That's a big problem. I've also had a lot of weird crashes and really weird instances of the system randomly powering on and powering off without me doing anything. And while I'm not totally jammed up about it, it's fine, these things happen, I can send it to Sony and get a new one. The fact that I'm saying it's fine and it happens shows a problem. As generations advance and games get more and more exciting with innovations and technological advancements and just awesome stuff to do, the trade-off is that things get a lot more complicated, such as with problems with my PS4, people who had problems with Xbox 360s and the red ring of light, and it really boils down to we can't blow in cartridges anymore to fix everything. Ma, what?
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. You are awesome, and I love you. I love you a lot. Now, I feel the need to reiterate again, this is not a Sony or Microsoft bashing party. As I said, I will buy these systems eventually, and I'm looking forward to that once they iron some of these details out, and there are actually some launch titles I want to play, like Metal Gear Solid 5. Speaking of launch titles, where are they? Older systems that were released in the 90s and 80s had great titles to play as soon as you got them. Now, what do we have? Call of Duty Ghosts? I mean, it might be a fun game, but really, I mean, is that a must-own game? No, it's not. So I did some research. These are some of the launch titles that came with previous systems that are fairly well known. The NES came with Duck Hunt, Excitebike, and Super Mario Bros. The Super NES came with Super Mario World and F-Zero. N64 came with Pilot Wings 64 and Super Mario 64. The PlayStation 2 had Time Splitters. GameCube had Star Wars Rogue Leader and Luigi's Mansion. Xbox had Halo. The Wii had Zelda Twilight Princess. These are games that I would want to play instantly. Like, as soon as you got the system, it's like, yes, I want to play that game right now. PS4 and Xbox One don't have any of those games. Where are they? It's like you've had years to create these systems. Don't you think you might want to release a game that gamers are like, I must instantly own that game? Because most gamers are just like, I must instantly own the system. That's what they want. They want to buy the system right now as soon as possible. But then it just kind of sits there and they're like, what am I going to do? I guess I'll browse Netflix. And with all these systems arriving just literally broken in the box, it makes me remember the fact that I have my Nintendo 64 that I have had since 1997. And it still works perfectly. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, let me tell you guys a very interesting story. When I was in my mid-teens, I had all my Nintendo 64 games with me in the car. I had gone over to my friend's house, we had spent the night, we had fun. I brought over my entire case of Nintendo 64 games, controllers, memory cards, everything. My parents picked me up the next morning, they brought me back to my house. For whatever reason, I believe I had to tie my shoe. When I got out of the car, I set all my games on top of the car. I tied my shoe, I went inside. The next morning, I was about to play one of my games and I realized, oh crap. They're outside still. Now it's late fall, okay? There is frost and snow all over the place. So I immediately think two things. One, someone stole my games because they've been sitting on that car forever. Or two, they are broken to crap. So I go outside and believe it or not, my games were actually still there on the roof and I grabbed them and I was like crying. I was like, oh, my games, they're all broken. Like there was like 30 games in this box and they were shot. There was frost on all of them. Some had ice on them. Some were sticking together because of the ice. It was horrible. I brought him inside. I was very, very sad. My dad came up to me and said, you know what, son? Let's try something. He went in the bathroom, he came out with a hairdryer. We sat there for an hour hair drying every single one of these cartridges, all of the controllers, and the memory cards. Guess what? They still worked. And they never broke, ever. They still work. Those games sat outside in below freezing weather, literally froze, and they still work. So am I saying that Nintendo is better than Sony or Sony's better than Microsoft? No, I'm not saying anything like that. This is not a biased video. All I'm saying is that I love my PS3. I use it every day. I literally do. Every single day I use my PS3, whether it's Netflix or games or something along those lines. But all this new technology is so fragile. It's like if you do the slightest thing wrong with it, it's all just gonna fall apart. Also, there's this new rise of something called DLC or downloadable content. I think it sucks. When I grew up, to get a whole bunch of extra content, you had to beat the game. When I beat Metal Gear Solid, I got Snake's bandana. And then I could do all these amazing things, and it was so cool. Nowadays, I can pop in that game that cost me $59.99 plus tax, and then pay like another $30 and maybe I can have some special features of some kind. It doesn't matter if I beat the game, it doesn't matter if I have more skill than other players, which gives me more things that other players did not have. I have to pay $30 to get it. It's annoying. What the hell's up with that? Now, obviously, you guys may know that I am a big Nintendo fan. I have Nintendo Power magazines from back in the day. I have so many Wii games, GameCube, N64, NES, Super NES games. I still do not have a Wii U. Why is that? There's no games. Where are the games? They literally just came out with a game that I actually want, Super Mario World 3D. Pikmin 3 I kind of do want, but just because you want one game that you kind of want, it's not like I'm going to drop the money on this system that has this big control that looks like Sega Game Gear in your hand. There's just something slightly wrong with systems nowadays, and I think I have the ultimate solution for what it is, and I think I know exactly what it is. Gaming systems used to be made for gamers. Now they're made for consumers. Because if I really think about it, what do I use my PlayStation 3 more for? Games? Or the fact that I can stream Netflix through it? It's Netflix. Because it's not just a game system. I can actually do other things with it. Now that's great. I actually really love that. What I'm saying is I think game developers need to focus on games. That's something that Nintendo has always done, and that's one of the reasons I've always loved Nintendo, because they do try to make great games for players, even if the Wii was filled with endless, needless child games, party games, and all kinds of stuff. I think if Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo focused on the games, focused on the gamers, then they will be successful. So what are your guys' thoughts on all of this? The broken systems, the launch titles, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, all of this. I'd love to hear you guys below. Sound off. And let me once again remind you, I will be more than likely buying all of these systems eventually. This is a rant more on the current state of things. As always, guys, thanks very much for watching. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.